Good morning. If you're with me, just give me a couple minutes. We're waiting for everybody to join. Sorry I'm late. Crazy Windows update came out of the blue on me. So let me just get this party started here in a second. Just want to make sure that all of our friends on Facebook and YouTube are out there. We are also on with Scott and Nate are remotely helping me. So looks like we're on. We'll wait a couple more minutes. I want to do something while we're waiting for others to join us. Let me know where you are joining us from. So give us a shout out. Let us know your name, company name, and city, state that you're calling from. I'm here in Denver, Colorado. They're calling for, I'm a native, so I've been here all my life, 50 some years. Holy cow, I can't believe I'm out that old. But they're calling for the end of the world snowstorm this weekend here in Denver. The news media is just going nuts with it. We'll probably get like 2 inches and that'll be it. So anyways, give us a shout out. Also, if you're using DesignShop V11, if you wouldn't mind, if you would put a comment in on how things are going for you, that would be awesome. Let's see if we've got some things going here. Marlene says, good morning. Good morning, Marlene. Amanda from Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh, Amanda. So next time I'm up in that area, we'll go out to lunch or something and meet and say hi. Tommy, morning guys. I'm in Orange County, California, another great place that I love. Linda from Plantation, Florida. It sounds beautiful. I've never been there, but it sounds really cool. So, all right, I think, let's take a look here and see how we're doing. You know what? I think we'll go ahead and get started. Now, if you're joining us and you're a little bit late and you're wondering who this guy is with this weird hat on, my name is Mike Doe, part of the applications team here at Melco. Pretty proud employee of Melco. I love working for Melco. Actually was a Melco customer prior to being employed here back in, I think I bought my first machine in '97 from Melco. So love the company, love the people we work with, and truly love our customers, and hopefully all that shines through all of us here at Melco. Today we're going to be talking about some really cool features in DesignShop V11, and they don't have so much to do with the advanced stuff like Scott and Nate have shown you the last couple weeks. I love that stuff, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. I learned so much from Scott and Nate on DesignShop side. Myself, I've been more of a machine guy all my life. I'm really more into the operation and trying to do, advanced applications on material and taking stuff that Scott and Nate have created in designs and putting it to the machine. So today, we're going to focus a little bit more on kind of that bridge between taking a design from DesignShop and moving it over to the machine, and hopefully giving you the most efficient ways to do that. So once again, let's just take a look here and see. Let's see, Lydia says, Florida is all fun in the sun. Isn't that the truth? I would love to be down there right now. Natalie, good morning. Let's see, Jenny from Oakland, Iowa. I've never been to Oakland, Iowa, but it sounds cool. So Jenny, hi there. Jorge Tereso, I hope I'm saying that right. Hello from Portugal. Hello. I've got some good friends here at Melco from Portugal. So some really heavy influencers on the machine side. Guys from Portugal. Oscar, what is the price of those machines cost? So Oscar, what I can do is I can tell you that you can reach out and one of my buddies here will post an 800 number that you can call in, or you can always email at sales@melco.com. So we don't advertise our prices on videos like this because these videos get watched 2, 3, 4 years in advance. And we don't want to have we don't want to lead you down the wrong path at a different time. So give one of our people a call, let them understand what your needs are, and they can help you for that. All right, I just want to go through a couple more things here. So let me switch computers and let me get off of my email and let's jump over to a couple things. So one thing that I'd like to tell you about is if you don't have a copy of DesignShop V11 yet, let's say you're running somebody else's program or you haven't upgraded your older version of DesignShop, there is a way for you to get a free copy of DesignShop. So that DesignShop copy would be what's called DesignShop Sizer. And so all I did to get to this page is I went to melco.com, and then here across this banner I just clicked once, and then I clicked on Learn More, and then I scrolled. There's a lot of great information in here, but I scrolled down to the bottom and there's a link here that will take you to a page that you fill this information out, and then we will send you, or actually this pops up with a link to download DesignShop Sizer. So really cool stuff. So make sure to check that out. The other page that I'd like to go to real quick is Melco University. So I see, and I'm so happy that we have social media and the way that the industry, and especially you guys, Melco customers, have been using social media is just really, really cool to watch. You've got a question, you post the question, and there's like so many people like right on it to answer your question. But if at any point you would really like to see some information, if you go to this melcouniversity.com, click on the media, there is a whole bunch of playlists that once again the applications team has put together. Especially a big shout out to Nate Moore on these. But you can go in and learn, and you can watch these. These are not something like other companies do that are behind a lock and key. These are available for you to watch prior to even getting our software. But you can go through that. The live sessions are really good. There was one, and I don't see it. So Scott or Nate, if you're listening, Nate did one last week on DesignShop. He did one on lettering and a whole bunch of different things on lettering, and it is just flipping awesome. But for some reason, I'm not seeing it here. So if you could post that in the comments, Nate, that'd be great. And then Samantha Mirabal, one of Melco's customers, every week does a DesignShop talk. So you can send questions in to applications with an S at the end of application, applications@melco.com, and then every week Sam goes on either Thursday or Friday. Her real name is Samantha. I call her Sam. I apologize. Samantha goes on and will answer those questions and walk through it. And so you can go back and re-watch those, in case you missed part of it, you couldn't watch it because you had something else going. All of that is there. So really good stuff. So make sure to check that out. Let's just make sure that I don't have any comments going. Looks like the boys are taking care of it. Yeah, Colorful Threads Embroidery said, yay, Nate. He is the man, that's for sure. So thank you, Nate, for all you do. Okay, one other place that I want to go, and I want to give a big shout out to Dan and the tech support team, is melco-service.com. So if you ever go into this FAQ on Melco-Service, I get it. In the past, FAQs are like they've been out of date. They don't have the information that's relevant to me. But Dan and his team do just an amazing job of every time we do one of these videos or something new comes up, a valid questions come from you guys that you either email or call us on. Dan and his team are really good about documenting that so that in this FAQ you can do a search for that and find out stuff. So, like a big question that I hear a lot is, how do I update my hoop database? So just real quick, if I just type in hoop, you'll see that there's information in here about all kinds of stuff like bucket hat hooping, why is the center hoops differ from DesignShop to Machine OS? That's a good question. But here is updating the hoop database. So there's a lot of great information on there. And then the last place that I would take you, and I just got a call from our friend Sue Bealey, or Sue Gorton. I will call you back, Sue. But I would have you go to, and this didn't go to the right place. I apologize. I wanted to get the videos, and now I'm just clicking on things. Hold on one second here. So home. Anyways, check out our YouTube channel as well if you don't do a lot on YouTube. And I was just like going random click. So let me bring this back. Those are a lot of very important things. So let me just walk through this. Yeah, and being a part of, a big shout out to Rachel and For the Love of Melco Embroidery, the Facebook group. If you're not a part of that yet, great group, independent group. So, sometimes there's something that needs to be said and you want to say it on an independent group, not right to Melco. I just want you guys to know that we really listen hard to that group. So, join that group. There's just a huge amount of wonderful people that have great levels of expertise that can help you. And I like to say there's very few fundamental rules about what we do. It's definitely an art form. So you might get differing opinions. For example, for needles, some people are true organ needle fans. Some people are true Gross-Beckert fans, and they can talk about the advantages of both. And there is advantages and disadvantages of both types of needles, but it's just an example where you can go to an independent group and kind of get people's opinions. The same thing with bobbins. I'm a huge side bobbin fan myself, but there's a lot of you out there that like the magnetic bobbins, the sideless bobbins, and you swear by them. You've got my attention. I've ordered a box of those bobbins that I want to try them and see if I can get consistent tension and I don't have a problem with the thread falling off the sides. We used to have that problem. Maybe it's not a problem anymore, but it's good to listen and to see that information. So let's get on to what we are on to talk about. And so what I've done is I brought up a design that we got from one of our customers. So this is obviously it's the Minnesota Army National Guard. Anyways, we got this into our service group, and unfortunately the customer was having problems sewing this design. So they complained that they were getting fray breaks, real thread breaks, slingshots. In between each letter was missing trims. And so they were experiencing these issues. So what's cool about DesignShop V11 is now, right, we've got this ability to look at the design and proof it before we send it to the machine. Sometimes, in the past, we haven't done that and we'll miss the obvious things. So what you can do, there's several different ways, and once again, all the way down to DesignShop Sizer, that free program that I talked about, you're able to use this feature. So I would suggest checking out, go to melco.com and look for the Learn More About DesignShop V11 and download that free version of our software. But there is a couple ways to get to what's called the Design Checker. And so we can click here, or we can actually click in and open up a full tab of that. So let me do that one more time. It's right up here. If I run my mouse over, it says toggle, so I can turn it off, turn it on. And what Design Checker does is under Options, there is now a Design Checker tab, and it's got, and I believe it's 13 if I remember right, 13 different options. I might be wrong, so Scott and Nate will post the actual amount, but they're kind of categorized in different groups. So the first group is going to be your tie-in and tie-offs. A lot of folks don't realize how important tie-in and tie-outs are. So there's two things that happen with tie-in and tie-outs. So I'm going to jump back here so I can use my hands. Without a tie-in and tie-out, if I'm doing kind of a fairly wide column, if I just start out and start stitching, the top thread may not permanently lock with the bottom thread or the bobbin thread. And so what can happen is let's say I have like a column I, that can start to unravel on somebody, and we don't want that to happen. So that's one reason that tie-ins and tie-outs are important. They also have a different name in the industry, so we may use tie-in, tie-outs. We also might use lock stitches. So the other thing that they help with, the tie-ins will help the beginning stitch connect with the bobbin thread, where if you don't have that, it may start out and it may not catch the first couple stitches. And really where you see that is like a walk stitch, or if you're doing a tackle twill stitch around a piece of applique, and you're having that problem, you really should check to see if the design has those locks. My suggestion would be is from now on, even if you don't have DesignShop V11 at one of the other levels, get the sizer level and run your design through it. Even if you have it digitized by somebody, or even if it's a stock design, and it's going to tell you if you're missing these important stitches. So that's what tie-in and tie-offs are. Really important stuff. Comment if you got questions on that. The next one is stitch length. So we got to be really careful that if we go too many stitches in a row at a very small stitch length, we could potentially have issues in like fray breaks. So what will happen is if the stitch is too short, the thread is going to strike itself, and know that, you know, thread is going to travel through the eye of the needle, which means it's going to travel through the material as well, about on the average stitch length between 20 to 25 points. It's going to travel through either the material or the eye of the needle up to 30 times. So if it strikes itself and then pulls back up, guess what that turns into? That turns into a fray break. Or it can turn in, if it really strikes it hard, it can turn into a thread break. So that's why it's important that we look at these things. The next one is the columns. So same thing, if we're going too short, it may give us issues. And I'm going to come back and show you why we've got this option list for exceptions here in a minute. So hang tight on that. Same thing with fills. So that's all three of our stitch types, right? So we've got a walk stitch, we've got a column stitch, and then we've got a fill stitch. Boom, 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 boom. So three different types of stitches that we categorize everything into. And then the last one is miscellaneous stuff. So if there's no underlay in the design checker is going to tell you. That's going to save you from sewing it out on potentially a garment and ruining it. It's going to say, hey, you don't have any underlay in this. You might want to throw some on. It's at least a reminder for you to go back and go, oh yeah, I'm sewing this on fleece. I should have underlay on. And then if there's thread that's stacking up on top of each other, it's going to tell you that as well. And then it's also going to tell you if it's too dense in one area. So really good stuff in there. Now, in some cases, there's reasons why we would want, like the 10-point, if we go back to columns, 10-point wide columns, if we're using 60 or 75 weight thread with a size 60 needle, and once again, these are advanced features, so as you get into the business, the more you learn, you'll get to this, how to do wicked cool small lettering with very fine thread. And I always equate that out to think of taking a Sharpie marker and trying to do super small calligraphy with it. Not that I'm a great calligraphy person like Nate or something, but you can't do that detail with a thick blunt point. That's the same thing with a needle and thread. So you can go to a finer thread. The higher the number is, so 40 weight is what we typically use in embroidery. If we go to 60, it's thinner. If we go to 75, it's even thinner. If we go down to 30, which is good for like fills, if you're going to do a big fill design with white thread, I would look at it. If you haven't ever played with 30 weight thread, check it out. Anyways, you could go in here and you can turn some of these off so that they don't, remind you when you're kind of outside the normal exception rules. So these are checkable, uncheckable. Same thing with density. If we were doing 3D embroidery, kind of like this hat, we need to have the density really, really tight, but we don't want the design checker to tell us. So this is where all that information is. Once again, if you don't own DesignShop V11, check out, and let me flip over here, and I wasn't showing you this. So here is that list, and let me show that to you one more time because I did that. So it's tools, options, and then design checkers where that is. I apologize, I was talking on the camera to show you and I forgot to bring this back, but any of these are checkable, uncheckable. But if you don't own DesignShop V11, I would at a minimum suggest that you go to melco.com, you find the more information about DesignShop V11, and you scroll down to the bottom and you can download for free DesignShop Sizer, and you can use it in this feature. So let's get back to this design and let's look at what's going on here. I'm going to expand my property screen and kind of reduce this in just a little bit here so we can see things. So we see that we've got quite a few columns that are under 10 points. So what you can do, now this is not available in Sizer. So if you're using Sizer and you had these warnings, what you would want to do is either take it into the program that you got the design from, and really it only works well with wireframe design. So if you had a Digitizer send you a wireframe OFM, and make sure that you understand that as well, that if you ask for an OFM, make sure that it's a wireframe OFM if you're requiring it from a professional digitizer. And the reason for that is then it makes it a lot more editable, instead of just being points that are just stitches and just bland colors that don't really go with the design. You'll get all that information into the design. So when asking for designs to be digitized, you want wireframe OFM. So not just OFM, wireframe OFM. So back to this guy. If you have one of the paid levels, you can actually double click on this and it will take you straight to that issue. So if we go into this guy and zoom in a little bit, we can see that this column here is going to be too short. So if I get my ruler and measure this out, you can see that we're just under that threshold of 10 points. So I can go in and just add either in compensation, which used to be called pole comp, is now compensation. I could go in and add a point of offset, and more than likely, when I do that, that's going to get rid of that issue. So it'll move on. So as soon as you take care of that issue, it'll move it on. Now, a cool thing is if you wanted to, if you knew that all the lettering had this issue, you could just select it. And let me just pull this over so we can see this. If I go in and put that 1 point of offset, now watch the design checker, it got rid of any of those that had that. So that's how you can use the design checker. And once again, my suggestion would be is any new design that you haven't sewn on the machine yet, before you send it over to the machine, and this machine behind me is named Roxanne. I know I gave this name to Nancy Dunn, but this one is also Roxanne, so you don't have to turn on the red light. A little police action if you know what I'm talking about. So red light meaning stop. Anyways, little bad dad humor there, or grandpa humor almost now. So anyways, check out the design if it's a new design through Design Checker so that you don't have to deal with issues at the machine. I hear a lot, Mike, my machine ran great yesterday and today it's not running good. Or even before lunch it was running wonderful, after lunch it wasn't. And almost every single time I hear that, if I dig in a little bit deep, what happens is they were running one design that was good, and then they went to a new design that they didn't look for this stuff that Design Checker does, and all of a sudden they started having fray breaks or thread breaks or slingshots when it trims and it pops out of the needle, or thread is sticking up out of the top of the material, or the thread is unraveling. So do yourself a favor before you spend the time to sew it on the machine. Let DesignShop V11 double check your work or somebody else's work. And if you've got some issues, it's better to deal with it in DesignShop or send it back to your Digitizer before you waste the time to do it on the machine. So really good stuff. There's a lot of other things that Design Checker can help you with, but in general, that's the idea of Design Checker. So now let's jump over to another feature. And so I want to just zoom out here, and we're going to just keep this same design, and let me close the Design Checker here. And so, let me back up a second here. Taking the design sometimes, and let's say that you start to get where you are scheduling your work out for the next day, or you've got a second operator, maybe you've got someone that comes in the afternoons and runs the machine for you. It's really hard sometimes to get the information that's in DesignShop over to the machine, like thread colors and like where you want it positioned in the hoop, or what kind of backing do you want ran on that design. So I would tell you, once again in DesignShop V11 all the way down to sizer, you have the ability to use the new print function. So if we go over here, we've got our design open. What we can do is we can go up here and go to File, and we can go to Print, or you'll see that there's an icon up in the toolbars, and we've got a flyout that tells us Print. So if we click on that guy, a little tool's going to pop up, and once it comes up, I'll show you this, it's going to give you some really good information. So I can turn on different functionalities like what is the unique colors in this design. And so what that will do is you can see there's 5 color changes in this design, but truly there's only 3 unique colors in it. So this will, as an operator, I can say, okay, I need to make sure that I've got black, this Mariner's Gold, and white loaded on my machine, and then my color sequence is going to be this over on the side. The other thing that can actually happen in this is I can turn on a barcode function, and so by default I can have that name, and I can go back and watch some of our videos on barcode. It's no additional cost from Melco. You just need to buy a barcode reader and turn a couple options on, but you could have the operator just scan that barcode to load that design instead of them fumbling around in folders and wasting time. And as I look at it, the more the needle goes up and down, the more money I make as a shop owner that's got embroidery equipment. So the more time I can save in getting them color information, getting them the hoop information, having the design load from a barcode, all those things are things that can save us a lot of time. But this readout, I've got a lot of ability to do things that typically we don't. And the other cool thing about this is I can put in some information like contact information, and I can use this to send to a customer to get approval of a design. I can even change the background color if I have that changed over here in DesignShop, so that, let's say that we were putting this Minnesota National Guard onto a dark garment, there may be question of how that, how this logo, the way it's colorized right now, would show up. And so that's it's a good proofing or approval type of document too. And you could easily instead of printing this, you could save it out as a PDF, and just Google that if you're not sure how to do that. But the printout function has drastically improved in DesignShop V11. So once again, I would tell you, if you don't have DesignShop V11, but you've got a Melco machine, download DesignShop V11 Sizer so that you can check out how the design checker works, like we went through earlier in this video. And if you came late, you can always watch this again. It'll be available both on Facebook and YouTube. All of our videos are always that way. But you could use a design checker, see what's going on with the design before we sew it out. And then, and I know this can be really hard to see, but you have the ability to print out information and schedule your jobs and make it a whole lot easier to transfer that information from DesignShop to to the machine, be it a Bravo machine, Bernina, Melco EMT16X, or one of the prior generation commercial machines. This is a great feature. So check that stuff out. Let's just take a look real quick here and see about stuff. Thank you, Natalie. The design checker only works for wireframe currently. That's correct. So that was a question from Jason. Happy about the update. I recently made a YouTube demo on flexibility of separate PC. Melco should make one for your channel. I couldn't find one. Hey, good idea. We'll take a look at that. Thank you. And we're always open for suggestions of things you want to see next. So last thing, I just want to make sure that we hit it one more time. You have questions, you have multiple resources to get those questions answered. So don't get frustrated on stuff. Go check out melco-service.com, go to the FAQ. I promise you, if there's something that's not there, if you let us know and it's a valid thing, we're gonna get it in there. So let us know if there's something missing, but it's a valuable tool to have. Check out Melco University, the media tab, and all the videos that the applications team has been doing, as well as make sure that you're part of the social media groups. I mean, there's a lot more than just the For Love of Melco, but that's a great one to be a part of, and it'll kind of introduce you to the others. So I think from there, we will, it was 14 issues, not 13. Good, we didn't want an unlucky number there, did we? Let's see here. Can you convert a design to wireframe that you got from another format from a digitizer? The answer to that, and that is a question from Rebecca. Rebecca, the answer to that is yes. In certain levels of our software, and I believe that's editor and above, you can convert to wireframe. The only problem with that is it may not represent how that design looked prior. And what I mean by that is we're taking an expanded design as just input points of where the needle is going to penetrate the material, and we're taking that and we want to constrain it with wireframe and make it a little bit more consistent. So those stitches are going to change, and so it may not have the same result that you had before, but you do have that ability to do it. Check it out, make sure that it's good, run it through the design checker, and then send it over to the machine. Absolutely. So let's see here. I think that's probably it. I once again apologize that we ran late today. I was all set up, ready to go here at Melco, and one of the PCs that I was using decided that it was time to do a Windows update. They never happen at a very good time, do they? So thank you, Bill Gates, for that. Just a little joke. Guys, I really appreciate everything. Appreciate you being Melco customers. If there's anything at all that you think we should know about or suggestions that you have, please email those in at applications with an S at the end at melco.com. Also, if you've got questions on DesignShop V11 and you want Samantha to answer them, get them in at applications@melco.com. And until next time, have a great day.